Hello, hope you guys are doing well. So in this video, basically we are going to cover the fourth chapter of the last unit, radio. So what are radio? We all know, right? Radio yeah. So radio in India offers several career opportunities to whom? Obviously to young people, because young people have a very a good voice. So that's why it provides several opportunities for the young people. There are many opportunities for young people, right? Uh, it's not only limited to music or talk shows or news related programs, but it is also it is also available in mobile phones, or we can see internet, right? PDAs. What is the full form of PDA? Personal assistant, digital assistant, iPods, and in cars, like in vehicles also we can see radio, right? Now radio channel is also known as radio station, is headed by is headed by basically station manager, we can say, or we can say station director. Now what is the responsibility of manager? Station manager basically looks into whether everything, the content is basically put in interesting manner or not, or we can say exciting manner or not, right? He is basically the senior radio broadcaster who like before doing this job, he should have experience of small jobs of like what? Small jobs like assistant producer, right? Assistant producer. Okay. Now now we are going to know about radio producer. Radio producer is basically in charge of of a particular radio program, right? Only a particular radio program. He decides about the content of the program, and if that program is a music program, then he would be the one who would guide RJs. Who are RJs? RJs are basically radio jockeys. Okay, we know what RJs are, right? And if if we think about radio, the very first thing in our mind, it comes like RJs only, right? Music, RJs. In selection of music, like he also selects the music which should be played, and um, the commercial breaks, about the breaks, and about the announcements as well. He's the one who takes major decision, right? Now he guides the RJs also on the narrative, not only on music or breaks or an announcement. He also guides RJs for narratives, right? That will link different songs together. Further, he will negotiate terms with program sponsors and advertising agencies, and sometimes directly with advertisers as well, right? He plans each day's program well in advance. See, now who are radio presenters? This is the most important question, or most likable question of CBSE. Favorite question of CBSE, we can say, right? Uh, who are presenters? Radio presenters are basically who presents news or weather or traffic conditions, right? They are not RJs. They are not RJs. There's a misconception that they are RJs. No, radio presenters are not RJs. They are people, or like radio people who basically present news, traffic conditions, or weather. Those are basically known as radio presenters. They need to have a radiogenetic voice. Radiogenetic voice means a beautiful voice, you know, a suitable voice, we can say, for the medium of radio. A voice should be suitable for the medium of radio. Its voice has sounds good over a microphone. He should the sound should like it should sound good over a microphone, right? Pitch and everything should be nice. The person should have a good accent. That's it. Speaking for radio is not the same as making speech on or performing in a play. It is a conversation, so it's not a speech. It's not a speech. It is basically a conversation. It is a conversation. right? um, with individual who make up your radio audience. So basically you're communicating with your with your audience, with your radio audience. It is a free side chat. It's a chat kind of thing, the conversation should be soft, intimate, and friendly. Then only people there then only there will be listeners, who will really invest their time to listen your program. Because there is a disadvantage in radio that you can't see it, right? Everything, it's a verbal program, right? So they should have a very good voice so that they can imagine it. They should have a clear voice, they should say it in very nicely, clearly, so that audience can relate and imagine what they're saying it, right? Every inflections and tone is caught by a sensitive microphone, right? There is no scope here for dramatics, and rather every fiber and timbre of one acting voice has to be underplayed. Now, what are um, artists? They are basically performers who perform on radio, and we can say musicians as well. Musicians, actors, performers, other performers on radio are basically known as artists. As in mass media sample question paper, we have noticed that there were objective kind of questions, one line answer type, like answer in one line kind or one word kind of question. So we have to um you know read the chapter very nicely, because see, like from here, they can ask you that what are artists. So if these are not written in bold, or these are not basically headings, they are inside the chapter, so you have to read it, right? So this is important line. Now, recording for radio. So what this is the first subtopic and the last subtopic, right? Au- Audio technology has changed in ways that have completely altered the techniques of all audio productions. For more than 50 years before the computerization of audio at the end of the 20th century, audio was recorded on magnetic tapes. So at the end, like before, like earlier, um, if we go 50 years before, right, then audio was basically recorded on magnetic tapes. And it was a complex process, we can say, right? It was a complex process, and electronic and magnetic technology, human interaction, these all are basically involved. So, what is involved? Complex electronic, magnetic technology, and human interaction. So, reels of tapes were carried by hands to an expensive mechanical machine, where a thin ribbon. So it's just a description given that how uh, at the end of 20th century, 50 years before, if we see, then how radio used to be recorded, right? The source of sounds in radio is like radio situation was auditioned, altered, and combined through mixing consoles, uh, where each sound was available on separate channels with many knobs, buttons, and faders to change the parameters of sound. So these all are written, just have to read it once. It's written in a clear language, but the question is not going to come from here, right? The question is not going to come from here, like I'm not giving surety, but the question will be like, what are radio presenters, what are artists, who are basically radio presenters, radio producer, station director, and that's it. Now, one important thing can come from the recording of for radio is like automation. What is automation, right? um let's just See what automation is. So the software used in a radio production computer provides such individual sound with its own visual representation, which shows the changing loudness pattern over the duration of the production. Each sound can be manipulated by the producer to change its loudness, sort one at any time during the production, and these changes can be remembered by software and repeated every time the producer is played across called automation. The whole process is known as automation. So a complex production is created adding one sound, and then again the same thing process starts, right? So what we understood from this paragraph is that software is used in a radio production computer so that it can provide such individual sound, right? Because we don't know the face of the person, so we can search the individual sound with its own visual representation, and which shows the changing loudness pattern over the duration of the production, and each sound can be manipulated by the producer to change its loudness. Like obviously, if I ask you to imagine the process of filmmaking or TV program, right? They use filter. It's not like it, they don't show you everything without filter. They do use filter. So that is why there in radio programs also, in radio also they use different types of editor just to filter their voice, maybe, right? Just to give it a good bass. They you edit their voice. They edit their voice means yeah, they do edit the unwanted things as well, and they do give a good bass pitch to the voice, so that it sounds cool to us, and we would we can at least imagine of investing time to listen that program. So because there is a disadvantage, as I said before, that we can't everything is happening verbally. So we got to know in this chapter that radio gives a opportunity to the young individuals, young people, and it is not only limited to the music programs, the talk shows, or other news dominate radio programs. It is also it's like it's more widely on internet. And if internet involves everything, right? Radio, mobile phones, and everything, cars, vehicles, everywhere it is available. Now a radio channel or radio station is headed by station manager. A station manager is also known as station director, and his or her responsibility is to put together the content in an interesting and exciting manner. He and she is the senior radio broadcaster, and before this job, he or she should have small job experiences like assistant producer and all. So then only he becomes the senior. He or she becomes the head of the station. The radio producer is in charge of a particular radio program, right? um if it's a music program, then he narrates the RJs for the selection of music, break announcements, and narratives. That's it. Now, for radio presenters are not RJs. They are basically the one who presents news, weather, the traffic conditions, and they should have a radio genetic voice. The voice should be suitable for the medium of radio, and the voice should sound good over a microphone. Pitch, accent should be nice. They should not speak like a speech or a perform, or people do perform like a play. They should not speak in that way. They should speak like it is a conversation. It's a friendly conversation or a friendly chat, we can say, to the or radio audience. So the voice should be, or the communication or the conversation should be soft, intimate, and friendly. Musician, actors, and other performers on radio are known as artists. That's it. So if we now if we imagine a life, or environment before 50 years ago, then radio was a very complex process. Recording for radio was a complex process, which basically involved complex electronic magnetic technology and human interaction. So there are many more things written that how it was, it used to be recorded. It seems it's not that important, but you can read it once. What are automation, we got to know about it as well.